Someone can run a 10K, feel fantastic, have zero symptoms, all while a blockage cardiologist nicknamed the Widowmaker grows quietly inside their chest, without a single warning sign. How is that even possible? Because biology doesn't care how fast anyone can run. The body is so good at adapting that it can mask a 90% blockage, keeping blood flowing perfectly, right up until the exact second it stops. For roughly half of all men, and even more women, the very first symptom of heart disease isn't pain at all. It's sudden death. To understand why a seemingly healthy heart fails, start with the coronary arteries, the network of vessels wrapped around the heart, supplying it with oxygen. Think of them less like simple pipes and more like the root system of a massive tree. Sever one root, and the branch it feeds dies almost instantly. The left coronary artery branches into the left anterior descending artery, the LAD, which supplies blood to the front and bottom of the heart's main pumping chamber. Block a small twig, and you lose a leaf. Block that particular trunk, and the whole tree falls, which is exactly why it's earned its grim nickname in emergency rooms. So how does a blockage form in someone who exercises daily and eats reasonably well? It starts with the artery wall itself. A healthy artery is flexible. It is like a brand new rubber garden hose. Lined with a smooth inner coating, blood glides across without friction. Over decades, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and smoking act like sandpaper on that lining, causing microscopic scratches. The body responds by sending cholesterol to patch the damage. Then white blood cells arrive to clean it up, consuming cholesterol and hardening into what's called plaque. That process is atherosclerosis. Here's the misconception that gets people killed. Most people picture plaque buildup like a clogged bathroom sink. The pipe narrowing gradually until water just stops, assuming they'd feel it coming, growing short of breath as the opening shrinks. That's logical, but it's not how the body actually works. As plaque grows, within the wall, the artery wall stretches outward to accommodate it, preserving the opening for blood flow, something called positive remodeling. That means someone can carry a massive amount of plaque, while the actual channel stays wide open, blood flow stays normal, and symptoms stay at zero. Running a 10K while a dangerous blockage grows silently isn't a contradiction. It's exactly what this mechanism allows. So what actually flips the switch, turning a silent plaque into a fatal event? It comes down to stability, not size. If this is teaching you something new, hitting like helps more people see it. And subscribing means you won't miss what's coming next. And if someone in your life needs to hear this, sharing it with them takes 10 seconds and could matter more than you think.
Picture a dangerous plaque as a blister covered by a thin layer of skin, soft and filled with inflammatory material underneath. A sudden spike in blood pressure or extreme physical exertion can tear that thin covering, a plaque rupture. The contents spill into the bloodstream, and the body responds exactly as it would to a cut finger, rushing platelets in to clot the wound. Inside a coronary artery, that's the opposite of helpful. Within minutes, the clot can grow large enough to completely seal the artery, like a cork jammed into a bottle. It isn't the slow narrowing that kills, it's the sudden, rapid clot that follows a rupture. There's a second, less obvious pattern worth knowing too, one that specifically catches endurance athletes off guard, precisely the group most likely to assume they're immune to this entire conversation. Picture a disciplined 50-year-old runner with completely normal cholesterol who mid-race doesn't feel crushing chest pain, just feels off, energy dropping, lightheaded, nauseous, assuming dehydration and pushing through it. At the hospital, blood tests reveal elevated troponin, a protein that leaks out when heart muscle cells die, essentially proof a heart attack occurred despite no dramatic pain ever showing up. But imaging shows no fully blocked artery, only a 50% blockage. Sitting on a couch, that blockage is irrelevant. A crimped hose still delivers enough water for the grass. But push the heart rate to 170 during a race, demanding a fire hose worth of blood through a garden hose supply, and the muscle starts to suffocate from the mismatch alone, a genuinely different mechanism than a rupture, called a type 2 heart attack, supply simply failing to meet sudden demand. This points to a threshold worth knowing, one that explains why symptoms feel so unreliable as a warning system. Generally, chest pain doesn't show up until an artery is roughly 70% blocked. Below that, the body compensates silently without any noticeable signal at all. Above it, tightness climbing stairs that eases with rest, stable angina, becomes the body's check engine light, an actual warning worth paying attention to rather than pushing through. But here's the twist that surprises most people, doctors included, when they first learn it. The majority of heart attacks actually happen in arteries blocked less than 50%, because smaller, softer plaques rupture more easily than the large, stable ones doctors can already see clearly and are actively monitoring on a scan. There is genuine good news buried in all of this, and it's worth sitting with for a moment rather than rushing past. The heart has a backup system called collateral circulation, side vessels that develop gradually over years to route around a slow-forming blockage, like paving side streets around a permanent highway jam that's been there long enough to plan detours. This is part of why a 70-year-old sometimes survives a heart attack that would kill a 40-year-old outright under identical blockage conditions. The older heart simply had time to build detours the younger one never had a chance to develop. Exercise, particularly a mix of steady, moderate-intensity training and short bursts of higher intensity, is one of the best-known ways to encourage this network to grow before it's ever actually needed in an emergency. Recognizing symptoms matters enormously because time genuinely equals heart muscle, and every minute counts more than it feels like in the moment. Irreversible damage begins within about 20 minutes of a full blockage, and by 90 minutes, affected tissue starts turning into scar that will never pump again, no matter what treatment follows afterward. Men more often get the textbook pattern, chest pressure and arm pain that matches what most people already picture. Women's symptoms are frequently far more insidious and easy to dismiss. Extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, even something that feels like simple acid reflux after a normal meal. A sudden, overwhelming sense that something is deeply wrong is never worth ignoring or quietly explaining away as stress. When plaque does need fixing, cardiologists thread a thin tube through the wrist, locate the blockage with dye, inflate a small balloon to open it, and place a stent, a metal mesh scaffold holding the artery open permanently going forward. But the more powerful strategy, by far, is finding danger before any of that ever becomes necessary in the first place. Standard blood work only shows what ingredients are floating in the blood, cholesterol numbers on a page, not whether any of it is actually sticking to artery walls right now. A coronary calcium score, a 5-minute scan measuring hardened calcium deposits, gives a real, concrete number instead of a guess. 0 is a genuinely excellent sign. Over 400 is a serious warning worth acting on immediately. A CT angiogram goes further still, revealing the soft, unstable plaque that hasn't hardened yet and wouldn't show up on a calcium scan at all, the exact kind most likely to rupture without any warning whatsoever. The healthy heart attack is almost always a tragedy of information nobody had access to in time, not a failure of willpower, discipline, or effort. Controlling blood pressure limits, the mechanical tearing that starts this entire process from the very beginning, years before any symptom would ever appear. Managing blood sugar limits the inflammation that turns a small scratch into a full, hardened plaque over years of quiet accumulation. And rather than assuming visible fitness alone guarantees safety, actually knowing the real numbers through the right scans rather than assumptions built on how a race or a workout felt replaces a dangerous guess with a genuine, verifiable answer. Now here's one worth answering honestly in the comments, not just scrolling past. Has a calcium score or CT angiogram ever come up in a conversation with your doctor? Or has cardiovascular screening always just meant a routine blood pressure check and nothing more specific than that? That's worth sharing because it might be exactly the detail that prompts someone else reading through the comments to finally ask their own doctor the same question at their next visit.